When you look at the wealthiest men alive today, topping the charts are tech billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. But actually, the wealthiest businessman to have ever lived died almost a century ago. In today's video, we'll be looking at a business empire so vast that even after 100 years of technological progress, no man has managed to overtake its founder. This is the history of John D. Rockefeller. These words, spoken by John D. Rockefeller, the oil king, are more than just a business mantra. They reveal the mindset of a man who didn't just build an empire. He engineered a world order. A man who amassed billions not just with oil, but with influence. Who shaped not just industries, but the very structure of capitalism as we know it. But how did one man rise from humble beginnings to become, arguably, the most powerful businessman in history? What was his secret? And how, even today, does his legacy still control the gears of global commerce? In 1839, in the quiet town of Richford, New York, a boy was born who would grow up to change the world. John Davison Rockefeller. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman, but also a con man known as Devil Bill. He sold snake oil remedies and often disappeared for long periods, leaving young John to fend for himself. From his father, John learned two critical things: how to sell and how not to live. His mother, Eliza, was the opposite. A devout Baptist who instilled discipline, frugality, and faith in her children. This balance between hustle and restraint shaped Rockefeller's personality. At 16, Rockefeller landed his first job as a bookkeeper. He was meticulous, quiet, and obsessed with numbers. Every penny he earned was tracked. Every expense was logged. He once said, "Do not many of us who fail to achieve big things fail because we lack concentration?" The oil gamble. By the age of 20, Rockefeller had already entered business partnerships, but his life and the world would change with one word: oil. The Pennsylvania oil rush had begun, and America was going black gold crazy. But while others rushed to drill, Rockefeller focused on something else. The part most ignored: refining. Oil was useless until it was processed, and he knew the real profits were not in striking oil, but in perfecting it. In 1870, he founded Standard Oil, and within 10 years, he wasn't just refining oil, he was controlling it. Over 90% of all oil in the United States flowed through Rockefeller's empire. But this wasn't luck, it was strategy. So how did one man take over an entire industry? Efficiency, obsession, ruthlessness. Rockefeller negotiated secret deals with railroads, getting huge discounts that crushed his competitors. He bought them out quietly or undercut them until they folded. Then he'd absorb their businesses. He created pipelines, refineries, transport systems, all connected and optimized. His philosophy: cut the waste, maximize the profit. And soon, Standard Oil wasn't a company, it was a machine. But Rockefeller didn't just want to be rich, he wanted control. Through horizontal integration, he eliminated competition. Through vertical integration, he controlled every step of the process, from extraction to retail. He didn't just refine oil, he dictated how the oil business worked. By the early 1900s, Rockefeller was no longer just a businessman. He was a king, one who ruled from the shadows. Politicians, banks, industries, they all felt his reach. But while his power grew, so did public resentment. Journalist Ida Tarbell published a devastating exposé: The History of the Standard Oil Company. It painted Rockefeller as a villain, ruthless, secretive, and dangerously powerful. And the government took notice. In 1911, After years of legal battles, the U.S. Supreme Court declared Standard Oil a monopoly and ordered it to be broken up into 34 separate companies. To the public, it was a victory. But to Rockefeller, it was a masterstroke. Each of those 34 companies skyrocketed in value. Rockefeller's wealth increased, not shrank. The split diversified his holdings and multiplied his influence. Today, companies like ExxonMobil, Chevron, and BP America are direct descendants of Standard Oil. The empire was never destroyed. It was decentralized. As Rockefeller aged, he did something unexpected. He gave away much of his fortune. Over 500 million, equivalent to tens of billions today, went into foundations, universities, medical research, and education. He helped eradicate diseases like hookworm and yellow fever. He funded the University of Chicago, Rockefeller University, and countless hospitals. But was this pure generosity or strategic reputation management? Philanthropy gave Rockefeller a new image, from robber baron to benevolent tycoon. It also allowed him to guide research, science, and education, shaping future generations in ways money alone couldn't. And in true Rockefeller fashion, even his giving had structure. He pioneered scientific philanthropy, where donations were measured by impact and returns, not emotion. Behind the empire was a woman who rarely stepped into the spotlight, Laura Spelman Rockefeller. She shared his values of discipline and charity, and together, they raised a family destined for legacy. Their son, John D. Rockefeller Jr., was groomed to continue the mission, not just of wealth, but of influence. And he did. The Rockefeller family helped shape institutions like the United Nations, Rockefeller Center in New York, and even policies around global development. The Rockefeller Foundation went on to influence medicine, education, and world affairs. One Rockefeller grandson, David Rockefeller, became head of Chase Manhattan Bank and a key figure in international finance. He dined with presidents, advised kings, and quietly shaped global policy. Was this just a successful family, or something more? Conspiracy or legacy? Some believe Rockefeller's influence went far beyond oil, that he, along with a few elite families, formed the nucleus of what conspiracy theorists call the shadow government. Power brokers who control economies, media, even wars from behind the scenes. The Rockefellers have been linked to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and the Bilderberg Group. While much of this is speculation, one thing is clear: the Rockefeller name is embedded in the foundations of modern power. The true meaning of power. John D. Rockefeller's estimated wealth today would top $418 billion, making him the richest man in modern history. But his true genius wasn't in getting rich. It was in understanding that money is just the beginning. Real power lies in systems, in control, in shaping the rules, not just playing the game. He once said, "The ability to deal with people is as purchasable a commodity as sugar or coffee, and I will pay more for that ability than for any other under the sun." Rockefeller mastered this art. He dealt in influence, not just oil, and that's why his legacy still stands tall. Was Rockefeller a visionary genius, a ruthless monopolist, or the secret boss of the world? The answer might be all of the above. His empire wasn't built just on oil. It was built on strategy, vision, and invisible power. The kind that still moves the gears of business and politics today. The world may never know the full extent of his reach. But one thing is certain: John D. Rockefeller changed the world. And his shadow still lingers, long after the oil stopped flowing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more untold stories of the world's most powerful and mysterious business moguls.